In this video, I'm going to be rating 8 funnels that people most typically use to get high-ticket clients, and I'm going to be discussing their pros and all of their cons, and it's going to basically help us to put these funnels in a tiered system all the way from S, which stands for best, to all the way down to D, which stands for worst. And if you stay until the end of this video, I'm also going to reveal the best funnel that's going to be in the S tier. And one more thing you should know is that I'm going to be rating these funnels based on 2 metrics, which is the effectiveness, which means how well they actually work, and then ease of implementation, meaning how easily you can implement it, because a funnel can be very, very good and get great results, but if it takes a lifetime to implement it and a whole team of marketers, then that's not really good, is it? So without any further ado, let's get started. The first one is the webinar funnel. I love webinar funnels. This is literally how I started my career 10 years ago. I started working with a lot of coaches, consultants, and they would come to me, and webinar funnels were on the rise. We would literally create simple meta ads, or back in the day it was just called Facebook ads or Instagram ads, and we would create ads on those platforms and then essentially send people to a webinar landing page where they'll be able to sign up either for a pre-scheduled or like a true live or an automated webinar. And the webinar would usually be 40 to 60 minutes long. And then at the end of the webinar, which would basically agitate the problem and then offer a solution, there'll be a free sales call or a free discovery session, how we like to call it. And then on the back of those sales calls, we would essentially sell products for 3, 5, 10. I mean, some of my clients even sold high ticket offers for up to $20,000. Now, the pros of a webinar funnel is that it can start booking you calls fairly quick. We'll launch a new funnel with a new client and we'll literally go from 0 sales calls to some sales calls getting in the pipeline within a week. Right? So say we would spend $1,000 back in the day, webinar sign up rate was, let's say, $10. And we would get 100 people sign up for a webinar, and out of those 100 people, we would book at least 3-4 sales calls, and then we would close just one sales, and then we'll just close one sale out of that, and we would instantly make $5,000 to $10,000 back. So we'd spend $1,000 and then make $5,000 to $10,000 back. Also, what I like about webinar funnels is that because they are so long, 45 to 60 minutes long, we would have a lot of time to really indoctrinate our prospects or our leads who sign up for a webinar funnel. And by the time they would get on a call with us, they would really take our brand and my client with a lot of respect, and they would be a lot more indoctrinated than if they just watched a quick video or something like that, because the webinar would really take them on a whole journey. Now, the pros is also kind of like the cons of the webinar. Because it's so long, one of the negatives is that it takes quite a bit of time to record a webinar funnel. Like if you want a good webinar, it's going to take many, many hours to create the slides, which is usually there's at least 50 to 100 slides to go through. It's going to take a bit of time to really nail the narrative and the storyline of the webinar. But again, once you create it, it works. But that doesn't mean that you won't have to probably re-record webinars over and over to keep improving the conversion optimization rate. Again, it takes a bit of time to record it. It's not really the technical setup, because there's a lot of webinar funnels that will do the setup for you. Like back in the day, the webinar jam was a big one, but it's really recording the webinar slide by slide is a big thing, right? You'll probably have to spend a whole week just working on the webinar slides and recording and re-recording it to get it down, but then you nail it for 1 week and you're good to go. And then another negative of the webinar funnel, as opposed to, let's say, with webinar funnels, because it's so long, the drop-off rate is also quite high. So you start at 100%, and by the end of the webinar, if you have like 15% of people watching it, 20%, then you're doing really, really, really well, right? So the drop-off is very high, but then again, at the same time, it's kind of like the positive, because only the most indoctrinated people would stay until the end and then book for a sales call. And they'll be like really, really into it once they would get on a sales call. Because of that, the webinar funnels is going to A tier, because if it was a bit easier to set up, then it would most definitely go to S tier, but I'm going to put it into A tier, and I think that's very fair. Now, the next one is the low to high ticket offer funnel. Now, the pros are, number one, if you do a good job of nailing it, you will literally self-liquidate the ad spend you invest in the front end. So essentially, if you spend $1,000, you're selling something for $20, you make 50 sales, you literally make the money back, right? So that's number one. Number two, if you manage to then sell high ticket sales off the back of the low ticket sales, you literally, let's say for that $1,000 and the 50 leads you generate, you sell at least 1 or 2 high ticket sales to those 50 leads at like, let's say 3 to 4K, you literally make extra, say $6,000 to $10,000 on top of already breaking even with your ad spend, which makes it for a fantastic return on ad spend. And then last but not the least, because these people who get on your high ticket sales calls first bought the low ticket sales, it makes them more high quality leads because they already have skin in the game and they've already said the first yes to you by spending, let's say, even if it's $17 to $27, don't underestimate it. They already said one yes, and that makes getting the second yes for a high ticket offer a lot easier. Now, the cons of implementing low ticket to high ticket funnels, that it's quite difficult to set up and like to basically do the whole thing, because number one, you have to like really think through the ascensions from low ticket to high ticket funnel, and you have to absolutely nail it, because if you basically create a high ticket offer that's not really relevant to the low ticket offer, people will, even if they buy into a low ticket offer, they're not going to buy into the high ticket offer, and then the whole thing is a flop, because everything depends on then people buying the big kahuna, right, the high ticket item. And then also on top of that, nailing your low ticket ads is also like a whole big thing, because essentially you're trying to sell something to someone, even if it's for $17, but you're basically making them sign up by just one click. They click on the ad and right away they're on the sales page. You don't run them through a webinar funnel, you don't run them through a VSL, nothing like that. I mean, you can put a video on your sales page, but it's not the same as opting in for the video. It's a whole different thing. And basically you have to create a very long and a very sophisticated, very convincing sales page to make sure that you're essentially selling as many of your clicks that come onto your ad into the low ticket offer. So the complexity of the setup are more complex, for a lack of a better word, than other funnels. And you have to basically dial in the ads, the sales page, the offer. I'm going to go ahead and still put it in the A tier, just because if you do nail it, the trade-offs are so huge. I've literally seen people do 3, 4, 5, 600% ROAS, but again, you have to do a really big due diligence in setting it up, and it's not as easy as gurus try to make it. They're trying to sell you the system on the system, so they say it's easy, but it's not very easy. Trust me on that. But again, nail it and you're golden. Now, the next one is the lead form ads, or currently known as instant ads on Facebook. And it's basically when people click on your ad and a form pops up that is usually already actually pre-filled with your data. And you can just click confirm and it sends your name, email, and phone number to the business owner, right? Whoever runs the ad. Now, the pros there are quite a few. Number one, you get customer data very quick. And a lot of times they don't have to actually get busy typing it, because it pulls your data from your Facebook profile into the form, which makes it a lot easier than if you would have to basically fill it out with your own hands, which makes the conversion rate on the form usually quite high. It can also be used in multiple industries. I've seen it used for B2B, I've seen it used for agency services, even fitness and even mindset, right? And also it's quite versatile, because on the back of that, you can promote multiple things. You can promote a sales call, you can promote, let's say, like a digital PDF sort of item. You can even promote a video that they would have to watch by first submitting the form, and then there's an option to send them to a thank you page where they can watch the video. And it also can be quite cheap, the lead forms. Again, especially for getting the phone numbers, you can sometimes get them for like as low as $20-$30 for a legit phone number, which I think is quite huge. Now, the negatives is that there's poor indoctrination. It's not like you're running them through a webinar funnel where they watch 60 minutes of your content, or you run them through a low ticket item funnel where they basically watch a video course, right? There's not that much indoctrination. They just see one ad. Now, the good thing would be to create a video ad that there's at least some sort of indoctrination where they watch your video and then sign up for a lead form. But generally speaking, it's not really like a long funnel, right? They just fill out the form. You can send them to a thank you page with a video there, but usually most people just drop off at the point where they just submit the form, which means that your sales have to be super, super tight also with this sort of funnel, and speed to lead is going to be the key. Right? Because with a webinar funnel, they spend 60 minutes with you. Even with a video sales letter, you're in front of them, you're educating them for like 10, 15, 20 minutes. But here, the whole funnel is began and then ended literally in 30 seconds. So the thing is going to start fading away from their memory fairly quickly. And we're talking about maximum one day, I mean, maybe even a couple of hours, right? So make sure to call them as quick as possible. And I'm talking about calling them within a few hours, maybe even a few minutes, honestly, if you have like a good sales team, which is another cons. You have to have like a very good sales process and at least one salesperson who's going to be doing this, or you do this, but it's going to take some time. And yeah, speed to lead is the key. What I personally recommend is contacting these people at least 30 to 60 minutes right after they submitted a form. If you go, for example, to an insurance website and you fill out an insurance, you're going to get a call immediately, like almost within 5 to 10 minutes. This is the sort of speed you need to have when you're running lead form ads, which is why I am moving it to B tier. Again, it doesn't mean that it's bad. If you have a sales team that's like super sharp on point, I would put it in an S or A tier, but because there's a need for sales processes, then I'm gonna put it into the B tier. Now, LinkedIn formats is literally the same thing, but done on LinkedIn, right? Now, again, the pros is that you can get people's data very quickly. Again, their phone number, their email, also their professional email, if you think about it, which is much better than what you get on Facebook. With professional emails, you can then take those emails and then maybe you can even feed it into like a cold email campaign, which I wouldn't recommend that you do with Facebook and personal emails. That's not very professional and it's probably going to get triggered as spam. But because people a lot of times they sign up to LinkedIn with their business email, you can take that email. It's kind of like building your email list, and then you can feed it into either a cold email campaign. You can even call them because they also put their business phone number on LinkedIn. So that's good verified data. And it can also be quite fantastic for especially like super hardcore B2B deals, right? And I'm not talking about a coach selling his business coaching services to like a solopreneur. I'm talking about literally selling to companies with a size of anywhere between 10 people and 1,000 employees, right? So for those B2B deals, it can be a fantastic opportunity. The big cons here with LinkedIn is that it's expensive as hell, right? We're talking about $10 per click, right? And if you don't do a good job of targeting, then I've seen people spend as much as $15, $20 per click, or like $150 to $200 per LinkedIn form opt-in. Now again, if you are a company and a lead is worth to you literally $200,000, maybe it's a good deal, but I'm kind of guessing that a lot of you watching this video don't run companies with 1,000 plus employees. You most likely run a business which is doing multiple six figures, maybe multiple seven figures, and then spending $200 just to get someone's emails and phone number is not such a good deal, right? So, and again, there's other negatives, which is poor lead indoctrination, just like with the instant ads on Facebook. And then you have to like have really good follow-up and good sales process and good follow-up. So that's why I'm going to put it in the C tier. All right. Now, again, if you're telling me that you're a major B2B company, you have your sales processes on point, like a super sales organization, I would put it a lot higher, but probably not the case. Now, moving on to the DMs, the all good spamming people on the social media. Now, the DM stands for direct messages, and this is when you go out and you literally write a message to people on Facebook or on social media trying to promote your services. Now, first of all, let me tell you this. If you're starting in business and you're just trying to make a name for yourself, you're trying to get your first few clients, you're selling something at a discounted rate, then I think DMs is very good. Yes, sure, you're going to be sort of spamming people, but what other choice do you have? If you don't have a polished offer, even if you have the money, I wouldn't recommend that you run ads because you first have to have a polished offer, and for that you have to get clients. And I think DMs or maybe cold emails like a good place to start. If you're in B2C or selling to small businesses, DMs is good. If you're selling to bigger businesses, then maybe cold email is good, which is also something that I'm going to discuss. But hey, look, the positives of the DM is that it's beginner friendly. It's cheap. I mean, it's free actually, but if you overdo it, then you'll have to create multiple accounts, which is a whole hassle because you have to invest into maybe buying some profiles or running on VPN. Again, it's not something I advise or specialize in or have any experience with, but I have some friends and colleagues in the industry who do that, so I know it like that. So these are the pros. Again, a lot cheaper than other alternatives. Now the cons is, again, you're essentially spamming people. And it's not like cold email, because with cold email, it's a standard practice, right? To send each other business emails, especially if you're sending emails to people's business emails. But here you're direct messaging someone's personal profile, which is considered kind of spammy. And it's not very good for brand reputation, right? Because again, you're trying to slide into someone's DM as opposed to giving value first and then having them come to you. And then again, if you overdo it, your account will most likely get banned, and it's a whole hassle. So because of that, DMs goes into the D tier. If you're a newbie, I totally recommend it. Go ahead and do it because you don't really have that much choice, and it works. You can totally get your first few clients like that. In fact, majority of beginners do exactly that. So just don't let it discourage you. I'm creating this video for an established business owner who already makes some money in their business and basically is looking to grow their business. Now, cold emails, kind of like DMs, but not really, is the DMs of the professional world, and it's a lot more accepted. It's something that I actually even use for my own prospecting and I have a lot more experience with. Now again, pros is that it's very cheap. All you have to do is, unless again you're spamming people with thousands of emails, all you have to do is just get 1 or 2 domains on Google Workspace and then carefully send out customized emails, let's say 5 to 10 emails per day, and then you'll be all fine. It's especially great for B2B. For B2B, I think actually cold emailing is S tier, is like the best thing ever, right? And you can still deliver tons of value. You can send case studies via cold email. You can first ask for permission to send a case study, and if they say yes, we're interested, you can send a case study, you can send a video training. So it's good, and it's also not really considered spamming. Some people might get upset by getting cold emails, but it's still a much widely accepted practice than let's say DMing someone on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is still fine, but like if we're talking about Instagram or Facebook and such, yeah, like cold email is a lot more widely accepted. Now the cons is that you have to have a very dialed follow-up. It's not about just sending out one email. It's about sending a whole sequence of emails. And sometimes that sequence can be stretched out to as long as 7 to 8 emails. And if you're going to be sending your cold emails, not like in a bulk style, but if you're going to be involving some customization in it, then it's going to take basically some prep work on the prospect as well, which is how I usually try to do it. But then I also very much cherry pick my prospects, and I really go all out on the specific few prospects, and I can spend up to 10 to 15 minutes per prospect doing research and customizing my emails, which takes time. And then obviously it can trigger some people, but I would say if you're getting triggered to cold emails, then it's your problem. So because of that, cold emails actually goes to A tier. We haven't visited A tier in a long time. So cold emails are quite legit. Now the next one is organic content, which is my personal favorite. I love organic content, and it's got a few pros, but then also some cons as well. So pros, super fantastic for longevity. If you're in it for 10 plus years, it does not make any sense not recording content. If you see yourself running your business in 5 to 10 years from now, start recording content on day one. More so, I would highly recommend that you start recording content on YouTube, because as opposed to other platforms like let's say TikTok or Instagram, where your content is going to get lost, on YouTube it gets views over years. I literally know channels and fellow business owners who've recorded videos on YouTube like as long as 7 years ago, and they're still getting leads from those videos. So it's great for longevity. The second benefit is that it's got massive payoffs. Now again, in the long term, you're not going to get clients on that same day, maybe not even that same week, but if you keep doing it month after month, year after year, the payoffs is going to be a lot greater than like any paid sort of funnel that you can think of. And also another bonus is that you don't really depend on your ad account. And if your ad account, for example, gets shut down, you're kind of smoked, right? So with organic content, it would take a lot of effort to get your organic content or like organic social media profile to get banned. I'm not saying it's never happened to anyone, but it's a lot harder to basically get it blocked than your ad account, which happens very often, like left and right, honestly, in this day and time. And also last benefit is that it's going to increase your sales rate by like 10 times. If someone has genuinely consumed your content week after week, month after month, and maybe even year after year, they're going to get on a call just ready to pay. I literally had sales calls when people would get on a call with me and not even want to listen to what I say. They would say, hey man, what is your price? And I would say XYZ. Okay, cool. Send me the invoice. The person doesn't need you to sell to them anymore. They've literally watched 20 hours of your content. They know what you're all about. They know your case studies. They know what you specialize in. They don't need to hear more. Now, obviously, it wasn't as literally as simple as 2 words. Would have some conversation, but it would make a sales call a lot easier. Now let's talk about the negatives. I won't really call them the negatives, but I would say it's the things that you just really have to commit to, because recording organic content is a time investment, right? And it's not something you can create on autopilot. It's something that you can bulk schedule, and I'm going to talk about in a second. But usually I'm recording, for example, 2 high quality YouTube videos a week, which, by the way, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want more content like this. But planning this content, recording and editing it takes me a full day, right? A full day in a whole week. Coming up with ideas, creating the slides, and then recording. The video editing I've already delegated to someone else. But with the video editing, it was taking me basically 2 full days in a week. So it takes time. And it also takes time to dial in your concept, right? The way I would say is this. If you commit to organic content, it's going to take you to 2 to 3 months of consistent work to really understand the sort of content that really gets you not just the views, but also the views from people that will really buy from you. But once you dial it in, and if you've been consistent enough in those 2 to 3 months, it almost creating content almost becomes a habit. And then you literally just do it without even thinking about it. Also, as you do it, you close more sales and you can reinvest into basically help. Have people do your slides, have people do your thumbnails, have people do your video editing. And it's as simple as that. Now, the last cons that comes to my mind, the last negative that it's not a negative, I don't want to even call it that, the last kind of like challenge that may be with organic content is that if you don't have the personality for recording in front of camera, if you've never done that before, then it might, again, be a sort of a journey to get good at it. But again, it's all a question of commitment. Are you committed to doing this in the long term or not? If you are, then it totally makes sense to commit then to improving your public speaking skills and your skills of speaking in front of camera. Because if you're running your business and if it's a business that depends especially on your expertise or basically on your face or your face of the brand, you'll have to speak one way or another, right? If you want to run a serious organization. So I would highly recommend that you start investing into the skill, developing the skill as soon as possible, which is why organic content goes into B tier. You know what? Actually, I'm going to change it. I'm going to go and do A tier because I love organic content so much. Last but not the least, VSL Call Funnel. As you can imagine, the only true S tier funnel in this list. Now, where do I start? VSL funnels. Pros. Automated, can run it on autopilot with ads. Easy to set up, unlike webinar funnels. They're both educating people, but with webinar funnels, you have to do the whole shebang with like a 1-hour webinar and like an automated webinar software, blah, 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 all that. With VSL funnel, you record a 10-15 minute video, maybe 20 minutes, and then you just paste it on a very basic landing page and people watch it. Now, indoctrination is not going to be as strong as the webinar funnel, but also the drop-off rate is not going to be as high. People will go access it immediately. They see that it's only 10-15 minutes and they'll consume it at a lot higher consumption rate. It books call. I have it written here within a week, but I would say within even a couple of days, maybe even within a day. Again, this is how it works. People click on your ad, they go to an opt-in page, they literally put their name, their email. On the next page, they're on the VSL already watching your video sales letter. Actually, some people don't even bother with the opt-in. They just have the VSL on the first page. You click on the ad, you're on the VSL, and the VSL page is extremely simple. There's only a headline, a VSL, which is basically the video that you embed on the landing page. There's a button to apply to a call, and then maybe there's some testimonials, maybe, and that's it. That's all it takes, and you can start booking calls within a few days. And then again, it delivers a lot of value quick. As opposed to other funnels where maybe the opt-in or getting the contact details was very easy, but the indoctrination was absent, this one also gets people's contact details a lot easy. This one may not get people's contact details on the front end, but it indoctrinates them and it basically gives them content that they can consume from you. It almost makes them to come to you, and then they go into the booking form on that VSL page and book for an application call immediately. And this way is actually even better sales because you don't have to chase people like you would do with other funnels. You just sit back, relax, and then have people apply and to want to work with you. Now, the only negative or the hardship that I'm seeing with this funnel is that you have to really nail the VSL and the ads. Now, again, nailing the VSL is a lot easier than nailing the webinar. VSLs are also usually way more upfront and to the point. And ads is, you have to create ads as much as in any other funnel. Now, what you should do next is go to my other video here on my channel where I'm explaining to you how to set up a VSL funnel from the very beginning to the very end. And I'm explaining how to structure your landing page down to very small details. I'm explaining how to create your VSL script. I'm explaining how to plan out your thank you page. And I'm giving you live examples of other businesses that are successfully running VSL funnels and make millions of dollars with it. So what you should do right now is finish watching this video and go watch the VSL video next, which is again the only S tier funnel in this video. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.